talking about one of my favorite topics, indigo, Japanese traditional indigo dyeing. And we have an expert today. We have Hanga Yoshihara-Horvath, who's in Tokushima. And she is an artisan who is combining her Hungarian traditions, her Hungarian designs, together with Japanese designs and Japanese traditions. We're going to be talking about indigo dye, Japanese style, natural dyes, embroidery, lots of wonderful topics. So thank you so much for joining, Hanga.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to being here.
It's wonderful you could join. So have you been in Tokushima about 10 years? Is that right?
13 years already.
Wow. And now you are wearing some beautiful knit that you made with some indigo dye. Can you tell us about it? Gorgeous.
Okay, first, after several things, when I was 33 years old, I started Arts and Design University, where I studied knitting, machine knitting. And but before that, I wanted to learn print, but I didn't really like the print department. So that's why I chose knitting, because I saw that I could still make fabrics, patterns and colors. That's the part I really interested. But by the way, I also can learn about a little bit fashion and shapes and put together the clothes. So I learned a lot of knitting, but then when I finished master, I went to doctorate course where I already wanted to concentrate in plant dyeing. But during my 3-year study, I realized that plant dyeing is like too wide. Of course, my theme was like plant dye in knitting, because my base was knitting. But then I just narrowed for indigo dyeing, and I was lucky enough to come to Japan, to Tokushima. It's my second time with scholarship in Japan. And I could make my research here. And I was very, very concentrated on how to dye, how to make the fermentation vat dye, because it's quite complicated. And I was focusing in shibori and tie-dye and folded dye. You are showing here the pictures. But after a very long study and a late childbirth, at last, at a very high age, I reached for my root. And now it's maybe 1 or 2 years, I returned to knitting. It's I just made new clothes now. It's just, I finished this last week, so I wish we spoke a few weeks later and I could show you more things, but if you are interested, please follow my work.
Yeah, no, fantastic. And you have been featured in local Tokushima magazines in Japanese and English. I think I love the story that you said you discovered about Japanese indigo dye when you were in England, and you really liked the white and the blue combination. Was it sashiko that you saw in England?
Yeah, sashiko. It's, I don't. Many of you know, but I explain to who don't know it. It's a very, very simple way of sewing. It's a simply running stitch, just up and down, up and down. It's a straight line, and it's sometimes comes on white fabric and the indigo blue thread, but sometimes the opposite, or blue on blue. But it's just very minimalistic, very minimal, and very simple. Like you can not make less. And I was like amazed about this simplicity and also the complexity of the geometry that you can make with this. Even though if you make this running string like yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and just interchanging, or it's like computer, so it's like very deep, very simple and very deep. And I went to England because I wanted to learn patchwork and quilting, and that's why I quit wanting to be painter. I changed for textile because I felt like it's more feminine, it's more soft, and you can cover the body softly. But as you can see in my clothes, the painter is still inside me because I like square things and just color and pattern and make very soft. So I don't make, I cannot make, and I don't want to make very complex forms, just very simple shapes. Also, knitting machine it's very usable for simple things like growing and how do you say, just make less stitches.
Yeah,
so
beautiful. I'm showing on screen is it a Hungarian embroidery style? And I saw that you have been teaching embroidery and Hungarian designs in classes in Japan. Can you tell us about that? What kinds of things are you teaching?
Yeah, I have started teaching. I have been teaching for 6 years. I made embroidery with my grandmothers when I was a kid, but it was just like a passing time at a summer holiday. I didn't go in very deep, and I really feel like it's a shame we didn't make more pictures. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have digital camera, so we didn't make pictures just in a normal house. But now I really regret that. I have many works of my grandmother's, a few works of my grandmother's, and when I went to the university in a basic year, we learned some of the traditional embroidery, but you know, we were very young and we wanted to just start with the new designs, and so we were like, oh, we have to make this. But I was a little more interested than others because my father is very interested in this rural art and craft, everyday objects. But you know, it was a basic year, then we didn't really do that. And during the university, of course, I was like in this surface design, like just make like sketches. Like I liked using thread. And of course, because I'm knitter, I use thread also for shapes and for structures. And when in a doctorate course, I even taught surface design, but it's all modern things, like use a blanket stitch, but opening and rowing. It's not like a formally made embroidery. In some meaning, it's more difficult than traditional one, the new one, but in some meaning, it's less complicated because you can make anything. And then, when I finished my study here in Tokushima, and I have my site, and I was looking for work, in different places, they asked me to teach about Hungarian history, but I was, oh, no way, I cannot do that. And I was thinking, and I went back and I thought in a cultural center that, okay, let me teach about Hungarian embroidery because I saw that it's quite popular in Japan. Even you can find more books on Hungarian embroidery, new ones, than in Hungary.
That's
so
amazing.
Then I found out.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I started to teach first only kalocha embroidery, and then I was studying because I wasn't so deep, but now I just love more and more and study more and more. And now I teach almost all the different embroideries of Hungary.
That's beautiful. We actually have had 2 other guests in the talk show, and one of them is a cyclist Reka, and she's from Hungary, and she's a cyclist, a great cyclist in Japan. And she
My friend.
introduced about, is it your friend? Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. And then we had Paprika Girl, who is very knowledgeable about kimono culture, and she often puts together Hungarian styles in her designs around her house. So we talked about that a little bit. And then you said that when you go back to Hungary, you also teach about Japanese indigo or Japanese design. So you're teaching about Hungarian design in Japan, and you go back and teach Japanese design in Hungary. I love that combination and fusion of the different cultures is so wonderful.
Yes, it's very good, but also very lucky because I feel like I don't do any special things. I just do what I like, and since I'm living in Japan, I'm very welcome for teaching in Hungary. Maybe if I still living in Hungary, no such such a chance. And now here, being in Japan, to tell the truth, being in an Indigo community, you know, I love very much shibori, and I learned quite a lot. But I do when somebody asks me for a work. But I was just thinking a lot and decided to continue embroidery and knitting because Japanese don't do it so much. So I felt a little bit like I have to leave this Japanese tradition for the Japanese, like not competing. Maybe if I cannot do embroidery and knitting, maybe I continue doing and make some novelty. Sometimes I make. I'm now working in a clothes collection with like very not traditional shibori.
It's
But
beautiful.
yeah,
How
but
how
it's really very lucky I can use my Hungarian stuff here and my Japanese stuff there.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I often read your Instagram. Your Instagram has so many wonderful pictures, but also you are teaching about indigo, Japanese indigo, and your design using natural dyes and indigo, talking about how sustainable indigo is from the growing of indigo until the end of life when the water waste goes back in. It is not damaging to the environment. And this is one of my favorite things about indigo. And of course, Tokushima is very famous for growing the best natural indigo in Japan for many years. So you're in a perfect location. Is that right?
Yes, when I was applying for the scholarship with the one I came originally to Tokushima, I could go to Tokyo and Kyoto, very famous art university, but my previous plant dye teacher told me, go to Tokushima, this is the place. And other persons heard I wanted to go to Tokushima. Don't go to Tokushima, don't go to Shikoku, there is nothing, not even convenience store. But I said, I'm not interested in convenience stores. I want to study, I want to concentrate in Indigo. So I was just happy, no other things there, but it's not true, of course. And in Tokushima, they prepare 80% of the leaves. And my husband is a researcher of the indigo plant. He's working in agriculture. He is working with making breeding, a better plant, easier to gather. I'm not sure how to say it. To
Yeah,
cut
gather or
a
harvest.
better shape
Yep.
and more indigo in.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I wish it was easier to find. I'm always looking for indigo. I saw you are now growing some of your own AIZOME plants, some of your own indigo plants. You talked a little bit about the import. indigo, which has chemicals inside. So the Japanese one, which is natural, is so much better for the environment, but also you feel more relaxed when you have it on your hands or wearing it, right? So the natural one is, of course, more valuable, I think.
Yeah, and it's not only when you buy and wear, but I work with kids from 0 year, or from few months in a nursery and a preschool, and myself think sometimes that natural indigo is quite expensive. So since I teach, I think it's very good to give to the hand to the persons the plant, because the plant itself is not so expensive and it's very easy to grow. So teach them how to use themselves. And I come from medicinal herbs hobby and plant dyer background. So I really searching all the time for things that even a 0-year kid can touch and maybe put in the mouth. We have to be careful because not all the plant dye are mouth safe, but indigo, it can be eaten. So yummy, but sometimes they make even tempura or cookies.
I've seen that, and something that I would love to see, and maybe you have an idea. My hair is turning white and gray. I want to use indigo in my hair and make a natural blue hair dye. If you find anyone who's making beauty products or hair products with natural indigo, I would love that.
Okay,
Make
I
it
will send
more
you the
fun.
link. I
Oh,
hope they send the Indian variation, but I will send you the link from Tokushima's Indigo Studio, where many women with white hair or bleached hair just put their hair in the water and dye. I'm looking forward to becoming real white. I'm quite
I
nearby.
I
And
want to
they
do
put in the
that.
water, but
Yeah.
it's very alkali, so it's not so good for the hair. But you know
Okay.
that soap it's also alkali, and then you can put on vinegar. So
Yeah.
I think it's really even if it's not so good for the hair, I want to try once to just dye directly
Yeah.
with it.
I want to try it. So, can you talk a little bit about fermented dye for indigo? Because when I did a workshop, we had the fresh leaves version where we made a very light color. And then the fermented version, of course, has a very deep color. Can you talk a little bit about the different type?
Yeah, and even I will tell you secrets because I don't have secrets, and I love to share everything I know. And uh, the fresh leaves, it's like green smoothie. Just smash the plant with hand, but you can also use with your blender, and just press out the green juice and put in a silk. You only can dye silk with this. It's very easy. You don't need anything, but you can dye silk. And I just have learned last year that if you pre-treat your cotton or not animal, the plant-based fabrics with soy milk, natural, not treated soy milk, and dry it, then you can apply this fresh juice on it. Um, the soy milk here is something like a binder. So when you wash many times, or just, how do you say, just contact, or I cannot remember now. I use it. It's maybe the color comes out a little bit, but it's like the same like jeans, because the indigo is on. This is the fiber, and the indigo is on it. When you move it a lot, it falls down. Some other plant dyes comes more inside. So when we dye a dark color, we smash it to go inside. And in the Japanese name, sometimes it's a very dark color, you have like smashed blue if you translate to English, because you have to beat or beaten blue. Japanese color names are very beautiful. It's like haiku. So then going from the fresh juice recipe, there is some American recipes, just heating it a little bit and put some slaked lime and a little bit of glucose or fructose. I use very cheap honey. And then you can dye cotton with that. And it's very interesting that I learned all these recipes from America and England, because here in Tokushima, they are mastering the sukumo, the indigo leaf compost. So, and it's very good and very stable and very strong color if you wrap it. But since they have it at hand, they don't think about this blended dye methods. These are very traditional and very good and method. And for me, it's very interesting and very free being foreigner, because I'm free to learn, not only, of course, because I speak English and Spanish, it's make me able to get a lot wider information. So it's very interesting to see that the plant went out and now it's a really big boom in Europe and America. The Japanese indigo, Persicaria tinctoria or Polygonum tinctorium, is the same but has two names for some reason. And it's for me, it's so nice to see that other people find new uses of the indigo, and the Japanese are like so surprised when I see you can use the indigo juice, fresh juice for cotton. How? And you know, we are in Tokushima, so it's so nice to hear this surprise.
I would love to have more chance to use the fresh indigo leaves. Maybe I can ask some local farmers to grow indigo for me, because I know it's in high demand. A lot of designers are always looking for indigo, but you are in the perfect place in Tokushima. You must have indigo everywhere around you, right?
But you will be surprised, but there is a big problem in Tokushima. There is not enough farmers they cannot produce, or they don't produce as much as the demand. And one of the work of my husband in agriculture is making easier the work, because the indigo farmers and the indigo leaf composter, Aishi-san, are getting older, and now at last we have few young persons, but it's not very easy to enter in this old world, you know.
Yeah.
They need followers, but somehow it's not so easy to enter.
I hear this a lot about farming in Japan, that there's not enough young people becoming farmers. The number is decreasing every year. I hope that with organic produce going higher and the demand for organic getting higher, the level of cost and how much money they can get from farming hopefully is going up as well. That's a big problem when they do the hard work, but they get so little money. So there's very little incentive to go into that industry. So if we have high demand and the cost is a little bit better, maybe we can get more young farmers to grow indigo naturally. That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
I saw that you're using many different dyeing techniques. You have a beautiful gradation from dark to light blue to almost white. I love this style that you're using. Can you tell us, how do you do that? What's the process?
Yes. First of all, I love ikat very much, and I love also maths, geometric in nature. So these the two things inspire me doing that. And ikat is a weaving where you have weft and both direction. I cannot remember now that the yarns and the yarn going inside. But when you knit, knit, you have only one yarn, so this ikat style becomes different. So the clothes I'm wearing now, it's first knitted in a white not cotton, but I will remember later. Not ram. No. Timer. Okay, don't mind. But I made it white, and I prepared the clothes and dyed after. But other things, which one? This is also this woven stole is also dyed after knitting, but I have another knitting that I make skeins, and I dye my yarns, and then maybe this one, the right down. I dye the yarn itself. I make gradation, like white, or maybe sometimes not without white, and make darker and darker, and I go knitting, and it can be just a structure knitting, or it is right down. Mask was like a punch card, like sometimes two colors, and I can even mix like lighter blue gradation and darker blue gradation, and it can be just slightly visible or almost not visible difference. I love using this very much because it's from my view of point, it's similar to nature. That is like everything is the same, or just that not same, just similar, just like very slight differences. And I find that looking at nature, it's so relaxing, and I try to reflect these things I like in nature.
It's so beautiful. I love it. And you made such gorgeous masks as well, from the weaving style. So you said you studied weaving and knitting at university, and then also studied AIZOME and dyeing on a scholarship back in Japan in Shikoku University. So you've had both experiences like in your education in the past. Is that right?
I didn't learn weaving, just one class, so it's almost nothing. But I like weaving very much. So maybe my knitting is a little bit like weaving, but you know that knitting is plastic, so it's very, very suitable for wearables. No stretches, no pressing. I like clothes, and I try to make clothes that when you put on, you don't feel. You feel like, like as comfortable as naked.
That's it. Like what you're wearing right now is like a summer sweater, right?
Yes.
I love this green color as well. Is this also a natural dye that you're using?
It's an exception. You know Kimetsu no Yaiba? It's for my son.
Okay. And you
but
love
we can do this style of color when you make a base of yellow, and yellow is very easy to obtain from plant dye. Many of the plants gives yellow, then you over dye just a little bit of blue. I love it very much.
Yeah, beautiful. We have a question from Riki Okanda, who I mentioned earlier, who's doing kimono, but she sometimes uses Hungarian style in decoration. She says, the gradation you are wearing is very beautiful. Do you sell it anywhere?
Yeah, I will start from now on. I'm working on that.
Wonderful. I'm sure it'll be very popular. Before I move on from Indigo, I should also mention you said your husband is also working with indigo, Japanese indigo, in agriculture, and your son is named Aoi. Is that right?
Yes, it means blue wearable, but it's a wearable that the monks wear.
Yeah, it's lovely. I love that.
I
So,
remembered I didn't explain about the fermentation, so I have to go back
okay,
because it's
yeah,
very important about
please,
indigo.
please. Yeah, go ahead.
So I came to Tokushima because they grow the plant itself here. So I had a vision like have a plant from the seed and grown on the same soil I'm just working and living. And they ferment here and they make the fermentation dye here. And they dye here the blue. And I think it's very, very important for me as an artist to can make myself or the process or just have it very near to me, like local product. And also find it very useful as a teacher because nowadays the kids today don't know about how things are made and also cannot wait. I really see also in my kid that with the many television and many screen time, but not only this, in Japan they have to learn from so young. They don't have time for playing, so it's of course it's because of the adults. They are in so much hurry and cannot wait, but when you plant the seed, you cannot make it hurry. You have to wait. So I think it's such a good experience for this. They have to care about it every day because it's die if you don't water it. And it needs a year or more than a year to seed and have the fresh leaves or the compost. And I started to do, but I forget to make a picture about cotton because in Tokushima we can grow cotton. It's not 100% good because of the monsoon. Sometimes it gets rotten, but it's enough for the kids to can see that you plant the seed, you wait many months, and you have this fluffy thing, and they are so surprised when I say that your T-shirt is made from this. They are surprised when I say your T-shirt is knitted, your jeans is woven, and they are looking at me, what? What's that? And even teacher says, oh, really? And in Tokushima, they plant the seed after the frost, maybe in April or May, and it's growing very fast. It's not weed. It's a relative of knotweed, so it's very near to a weed. So it's very easy to grow. You only have to be careful to put on nutrients, enough nutrients, because you can have a nice green plant. It's a little bit similar to basil. But if you don't put enough nutrients in the soil, it won't be blue enough. We used to just take a little bit of the upper leaves and just press, and if my hand becomes very blue, then it's good. If not, we need to put on more nutrients. And it smells and then makes sounds, so it's like 5 sense experience for the kids and for adults also. And in Tokushima, they can get the crop. I didn't remember the name, how to say that. 2 or 3 times, generally 3 times, but they make only 2 times the part where they want to have the flowers. But in Europe, maybe we can have only 1 crop for the seeds. It depends on the climate. But I see that in very wide climate, they use the indigo outside of Japan. And after they compost it, it's the same compost and your compost. So it just move around to have enough oxygen inside and make heat. It becomes very hot and very ammonia smell. And it takes about 90 days. It's a very, very long and consuming work. And my husband is working on other ways of make easier, use more machines, but it's like many old traditional persons are against it making newer. But yeah, you know, there are different point of views. Because my husband said, why do you stop here? Because they use tractors. But if you want to make so traditional, you have to cut with I don't know how to say this, very traditional, no tractors. So which one? You make a very traditional or very new one. But if you, for money, maybe you have to make some newer things because you know that making rice here, you can get a lot more money with less work. So nobody will make indigo if it's so hard work in the hottest time. So he tries to make it easier to produce, and also, by speaking about him, not about me, but it's about indigo. He's expert about making very, very pure indigo precipitate. Indigo precipitate, it's made in India with the Indian variety, indigo feather, and also in Okinawa with the Okinawa Ryukyuai, the Ceylon indigo. It's a different kind. And but in Tokushima, there are very, very different opinions about if it's indigo precipitate is good or not, because the traditional is a sukumo, the leaf compost. But for me, as a foreigner and coming from plant dye world, for me, any cheaper and pure thing, it's okay. And especially for teaching, but also for artwork. If you have a pure plant material and it's cheaper than the other, it's better to use.
So interesting. So interesting.
This indigo, do you know how much does it cost? There
No.
is like this straw bag, traditional straw bag, and it's about, now I'm not sure, but more than 50 kilograms, 52 or 56. It's like a Japanese measure, and it's maybe 120,000 yen.
Oh my gosh. So it's really expensive.
So it's like a treasure. Yeah. So
wow. Well,
so one problem in indigo, this price, and also that there is not enough leaf, because even if it's so expensive, many people want to buy. But myself, if I don't grow my plants, I cannot buy for that price.
Right.
So I would be happy if the price would be more affordable.
Wow.
I think it would be good for everybody.
Idea. Yeah. Why don't more people grow it if it's such a good price, right? Let's talk a little bit about the other natural dyes that you're doing. I love your idea to use kitchen waste to make natural dyes. For example, onion skins. Can you tell us about it? I love it.
Maybe this was the first dye stuff I tried out when I was maybe 16 or 18 years. And I didn't use so much when I was doing indigo, but now I am just returning to my roots. And now after almost 30 years, it's a very, very different way of seeing my plant dye, because then it was just like a natural fun. But now in 30 years, the world changed so much. So I also reviewing my knowledge about plant dyeing with this sustainable way of thinking. And I really, really love to show the kids at everywhere, to show making things from not using money. But when you use waste, it's not only that you don't use money, but you also make less waste. So it's like a double, maybe not only double, because you get a nice thing. So maybe 3 achievements. it's really easy. Really easy. If you are thinking about trying out natural plant dye, I suggest you to start with onion skin, because you can use without mordant. Mordant is a chemical or an agent that you use to have better bond between the fiber of the textile and the material of the dye. But when you use animal protein, I mean silk or wool, but if you are ecological or you think what do you use, you prefer maybe wool than silk. And it's very easy to dye because you can use without mordant.
That's great. And what a
the difference of colors you see here,
beautiful color.
just
Yeah.
I dyed it. Yeah, I just dyed longer, nothing else.
That's gorgeous. So does it make a color difference if it's a red onion peel versus the white or brown onion peel? Is it the same result?
Definitely. The upper one, we say Hungarian lilac, lilac onion. This purple skin makes a little bit greener, and it's also very deep scientifically why it looks reddish and becomes greenish. And when you use other mordants, it becomes even greener. And it's a very complex color. It's like mixing yellow, red, and green, very complex color. With the orange, with the white skin, it's more like orange, or you can go until brown.
I love the color you got from avocado skin as well. That's beautiful.
This is my first avocado dye, and I learned this on Instagram. One of my place for learning, it's Instagram. And I really love the color, and I still want to experience more, because this time I didn't use any mordant, and I used the skin. Then I used fresh skin and fresh avocado pit, and just heated and had a long time in the wool. But now I have more. Every time I eat, I cannot throw away anything. So for me, cooking takes more time, because I peel the onion and put in the bag and put on the fridge. And my freezer now is almost full of avocado pits. But I really feel like I must gather what I can use. But it's sometimes it's too much for an artist, because you can use almost everything, so you cannot throw out anything.
That's great. I love that idea. So not only save your kitchen scraps to use compost in the garden, but save your kitchen scraps to do dyeing, natural dyeing, and then put it in the garden. Because it's natural, you don't have to worry about chemicals. I love that. You also did eucalyptus. I love the eucalyptus color as well.
Yeah, to tell the truth, the two one I put the picture outside, it's more yellowish and oranges, and the one with this little purplish gray, it's a kind that I don't have now, but I got from a friend. But definitely very soon I will plant it in my garden. And I started to make plant dyeing because of herbs, natural medicinal plants. So it's the same thing. I use the smell for my kid when he has asthma, and it feels so good to wear something, a healing plant. And I also learned, and still learning, flower remedy and homeopathy and aroma. So everything comes together. And of
That's
course,
wonderful.
Color therapy.
Yeah, I think especially like when my children were little as well, and they have a cold or they're a bit stuffy, using eucalyptus on their skin makes it feel cool, and they can breathe easier. Also indigo. AIZOME has great like natural properties. They say that in Japan, if you wear AIZOME dyed clothing, the insects stay away, and it has natural antibacterial properties. So there's a lot of benefit for natural indigo and many of the other natural ingredients that you're using. It's wonderful.
Yes, to tell the truth, not all these properties are proved. I just tell everybody, if you want to make research, I suggest you to research on indigo, because so many things not yet studied and not proved. And now this property of being good for the skin and good against the bugs looks like the fresh dye works better. But now in Tokushima, in different universities, they also studied different enzymes and different components from the indigo for skin, for eczema, atopy. I don't know which one is English, maybe eczema, the allergy, sometimes English, Japanese.
Yeah. Well, you speak so many different languages. It must get all mixed up. You're doing great. Don't worry. Mo said you know so much you should write a book. Thank you, Mo. And she is asking, what do you do with the avocado pit, the avocado seed? Do you use that for the dyeing, the avocado seed, the pit?
Yes, I use now mixed, but it looks like if you use only the avocado, it gives even a little bit more pinker color. But it depends on your material, if it's pre-treated or not, and the modern, so a lot more exploring. To tell the truth, I made all this experience last year, but we moved to a house from a flat, and I had the garden and started to experience. And at last, I worked so much I didn't have time to put everything on Instagram. But for today, I put on because I really wanted to share all the time.
Yeah,
And
wonderful. I'm
I
glad.
also have coffee. You know, my husband every morning leaves a little bit of coffee, and I'm, oh, this dark coffee, I cannot throw away. And I better die than drink too much coffee. So I just made a piece. I next time I will put on Instagram. Maybe I dipped more than 20 days every day, because more dipping makes darker color, and I get a
Oh,
very
nice.
nice dark brown with that. Because first
Yeah.
I dyed and I thought, oh, why is it so light? It's not like coffee. But when I
Hmm.
repeated 20 days, and also you can dye with tea, and not new tea. You can just, you need a lot when it's like already once used tea, but you can gather it. But probably many person gather is for the compost.
I love that idea. I wonder if around your house or even inside your house or garden, you have different containers full of different natural dyes that you're trying. Do you use it around your house? I want to visit you.
Now we are renting a house, so we cannot do everything we would like. But in the future, I really would like to
That's
use
great.
all my. Uh, I love vegetables very much. We eat a lot of vegetables, so I really would love to make our own compost and use for my indigo
Yeah.
farm.
Oh, that would be great. I also saw that you are raising a silkworm. Can you tell us about your silkworm? I was so interested in that.
It's a little sad story, but I will tell, and next time I will do better. We went to study Japanese madder, akane, and our hosts had a lot of silkworms, and they gave to anybody who wanted to raise. And I have, in Europe, we don't have such rich for silk like in Asia. I have never seen it. It's like something very, very strange thing. Or so we got two. And first my husband said, "Oh no, we have many, many bugs here because I have a son." Japanese, how do you say?
Children love to collect. They love to collect insects, right? The children.
Yeah, but
it's
we
awesome.
don't have this thing in Europe. We are like, oh no bugs, please. We don't have like these funny and nice books and lot of things. So for me, it's like a very, very new experience. And now we got these two silkworms, and my husband said, "Oh, no more, because it will be a pair and give more kids." But when it comes for forming this cocoon, he also started, so I hope one is female and one is male, and then we can continue and give to the nursery. The Japanese nursery and preschool is so nice. They keep so many different animals to show to the kids. They really try to give many things to the kids that they cannot have at home. But unfortunately, one transformed very healthy, but the one we put on the cup, we were suggested to put on this transparent plastic, but plastic, it probably couldn't get enough oxygen. Probably the host who gave me, they didn't know we want to have it alive after that. They thought we want to have only the cocoon, but we wanted the animal, the insect. So now we are regretting so much. We didn't know much more about it. So we had one, the female, after we understood it was female, because put out the pheromone stuff and put on the eggs, but it's like, the eggs without the eggs without the male, so it's just not becoming. But we want to try it again and make it better.
Well, it's a good experience. It's a good way to understand how silk is made. Silk was a big industry in Japan for many years, right?
Yes, and now I have heard when I was making felting that you can use these cocoons cut out by the worm. The fiber just starts to be endless, so you cannot make the yarn, but you can still use the shorter fibers for your felting. So I want to study about this, because I definitely won't kill my animals inside the cocoons, and I want to come out and have the rest and learn how to use the rest. And this yellow color is natural color. I think me and other people think the white cocoon is the natural color, but then we just learned from my son's Japanese books that the yellow one is the traditional one, and the white is just the change of the gene.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And it's so nice for you, because your passion is all about making things from nature, to understand the process as well, as a designer, as a maker, as an artist, right?
Yes, I was shocked now. I'm, how to say, ashamed that I am 46 years old and I study textile, and I probably learned that they are killed inside, but now maybe I learned and I forgot, I never saw it, and we don't have so much silk in Europe. But now when I saw this animal, and I attached in my mind that every one of these animals is killed for have a long yarn, I was, maybe I have to rethink my relationship about silk.
Yeah. It's difficult, right? Because if you dive into almost any material that we use or any product that we buy, there's something very unsavory about most things. So trying to make better choices comes with education. So I love that you're teaching yourself about these things. It's wonderful. Can I just mention one more thing that you're doing with your son? You're mending his clothes. Now, if I could sew, I would have loved to do this when I was a mother of a young child, because I had a son who was so active and he would break through all of his trousers and jeans so quickly. And you're mending them with patches, and it's so cute. And I just love this idea to extend the life of children's clothes a bit longer. Great idea.
Well, thank you so much. You mentioned this because my work is textile, but I can say maybe my hobby is this. And
That's so cute.
yeah, and I love doing it so much. Probably, I'm not sure, maybe because my grandmother, who made it for need, she raised 7 children at the end and after the war. So she was so good making it. I can also make the proper way of darning, but I really love and relaxes me so much to make just like sketching, like free one. I call myself like free motion darning, and I'm also thinking to teach to other many person don't make it because since darning is like weaving, you have to learn and so systematic and so you have to make that woven structure. But no, you can just put a lot of yarn inside and just don't stop in doing. I want to make a workshop with the indigo yarn and this free motion one, and telling that anyone can do it if you can hold a how do you say hari
A needle.
needle.
Mhm.
Yeah, I remember it. If you can hold a needle, you can make it. But there are even other methods to do it, and the teachers around my son are laughing that you are happy when he comes home with a hole, and that's true. That it's very complicated thing that clothes can be so cheap, and if you are making things, it's like not all happy things. And I'm laughing, I'm just making the cheap clothes more
Well,
more valuable.
you're actually improving it, because it makes it more fun to wear and more interesting, more durable. Good job. Yeah, awesome. Just for the last few minutes, I would love to talk about how you are combining the Hungarian embroidery and indigo in the same kind of product or wear. I see some examples here. So, for example, you have the embroidery on a button, and then you have the indigo dyed sweater or shirt. I think that's such a nice way to combine the two cultures together.
Yeah, one of the main area is teaching. Even this black and blue is one piece of, I thought it's my students' work. And to tell the truth, embroidery takes a lot of time. So now I have just small embroideries now, but I hope in the future I will have more. And in these buttons, there are some free embroideries, but I made also some traditional Hungarian ones. And also we used with my husband Hungarian embroidery pattern, reserve dye. When you put not silk print, but the Japanese traditional persimmon treated paper and cut out pattern like a stencil. Yeah, it's a stencil. You put on this rice paste and let it dry, and this keeps wide apart. So I didn't embroider, but we used the pattern, traditional patterns like old kalocha embroidery, because it's like an affordable way of using the patterns. But of course, I'm like a further thinking that I can put this white embroidery pattern on the cloth, and then I or other person can make the traditional embroidery on it.
It's so beautiful. I love it. Riki is saying that embroidery is so Hungarian. I love it.
I want to know everybody that Hungarian embroidery is not only kalocha and macho. There are so many different. I am being Hungarian. I'm surprised in such a small country. It's a little bit smaller than or bigger. It's about like Hokkaido, but it's in the center of Europe. So many times the people were like just dying out because of a lot of wars, and the kings are calling other peoples to come inside, like Czech people or German people or different nationalities. So I think that that's why so many different style of embroidery in Hungary. It's so rich. It's really so. And I told you at first I was like shocked. No, I cannot teach Hungarian history, but through the embroidery, I'm just learning little bit and little bit and little bit of my own history.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I love it. So beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing some of your ideas about natural dyes and Hungarian design in Japan, and then teaching Japanese design back in Hungary. I love this combination of Hungarian traditional art and culture combined with Japanese traditional art and culture and nature involved as well. So trying to do it a natural way. Thank you so much, Hanga, for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And if everybody has any question after in Instagram, I share anything. I love teaching, so I have no secrets.
Yeah, definitely find Hanga on Instagram. Your Instagram name, it's kind of covered right now. Can you tell us the Instagram name?
Yes, I spell in English.
Okay.
CICDAREK. And 12/23 is my birthday.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And please join us again tomorrow as we talk to illustrators and artists. IC4, which is based in Hiroshima. They did a really beautiful book, and it's going to be part of a video game. So that'll be a really fun talk tomorrow at 5 p.m. Please join us again. Thank you so much, Hanga.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye. Everybody have a good day. Thank you so much. Bye.